In the beginning of this week's Parsha, it says, "V'ata Tetzaveh b'nei Yisrael v'yichva lecha shemen zayizach kosis lamor v'halo shnei atom." There was a mitzvah. Last week's Parsha we learned about the menorah, how they made the menorah, and this week's Parsha says there's a mitzvah to get shemen zayizach kosis lamor. The literal translation of the pasuk means pure olive oil. Kosis means the first thing, the virgin olive oil, so they call it today, no? So the first oil they squeeze from the olive, that's what you have to use for the menorah. Now I'd like to speak about this week the lot of halachas that we learn out, and hagim and halachas that we learn out for hadlakas neiris from the hadlaka of the neiris in the Beis Hamikdash. In the Mishkan, the Beis Hamikdash. So we do hadlakas neiris Shabbos, we do hadlakas neiris Chanukah, hadlakas neiris Yom Tov. So there are halachas that I learned out from the Mishkan. Now, before we start, there's one thing that's brought in halacha which is not very known, but here it's just the opposite. Here we do not do it the way it was in the Mishkan, and that is, we know there's a lav to imitate any of the kelim in the Beis Hamikdash. Any of the kelim that have in the Beis Hamikdash, to make the same exact thing, the same exact tzura, you're not allowed to do that. And one of them is the menorah. Now the menorah we know had 7 konim, had 7 lamps in the Beis Hamikdash. So there's a halacha in Yeridei, I think it's in Kuf Mem Aleph, that says you're not allowed to make any copies of any of the kelim that was in the Beis Hamikdash, and you're not allowed to make a menorah that has in it 7 konim, 7 branches. A menorah cannot have 7 branches. Some people want to say it's a teretz. I don't know if it's a serious teretz or if it's a little bit derech tzachos. They say a teretz. Why is there 8 days Chanukah? You know, there was the oil burnt for 7 days extra. One day, the famous kasha. The famous Beis Yosef's kasha. The first day wasn't enough, so somebody threw something to the kasha that's not a kasha anymore. But that's the kasha of the Beis Yosef. So one of the routine they give is that if there would be 7 nights Chanukah, so the menorah would have 7 branches. And it's also to make a menorah of 7 branches. That's one of the routine they give. Even though you have the Shabbos Lav Dafka has to be part of it, it can be in the sides, and you end up making a menorah of 7 branches. Therefore, they made the Nes Chanukah to light for 8 days. So it'll have 8 branches. But the Piskei Tshuva there brings down, and a lot of places bring this down, that the fact they now know how to make a menorah of 7 branches doesn't mean dafka the way it was in the Beis Hamikdash. They had a lined up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If you make it in different ways, also it's asur. So what come out is, if someone has a candelabra, it has in its 7 branches, there may be an issur. A lot of Christians, even if it's zigzag, even if it's in a circle, even if you have a circle, 6 on the round and 1 in the middle, that's 7 branches. A lot of places can hold that there's an issur to make a candelabra with 7 branches, because that's doimer to the one in the Beis Hamikdash.
So what if you're lighting Shabbos candles, husband and wife, and you've got 5 kids?
Yeah, that's what comes. So if someone has 5 kids, a lot of people they customize it. Someone has 5 kids, right, and he knows that he's finished. He's not having any more kids. They'll make a candelabra with 5 right around, with 6 around and 1 in the middle.
Right.
So according to this, it's a problem. Right. According to this, it's a problem.
Only for candelabras, or with chandeliers?
So they speak about also, happens to be they speak about chandeliers, that something that hangs down from the ceiling is not doimer to the Mishkan. The Mishkan was standing on the floor. The question is how doimer, how similar it has to be to the Mishkan. So they say definitely if it's standing, and then if it has 7 branches, even though it's not lined up the way it was in the Beis Hamikdash, that wasn't an ikuv. Anything that was ma'akiv in the Beis Hamikdash, then if you do it, and you do it not like the Beis Hamikdash, then you're okay, because you could not have it in the Beis Hamikdash. But anything that wasn't ma'akiv in the Beis Hamikdash, for example, the way it was set up, wasn't ma'akiv. If you did it a different way, if it wasn't set up straight, it was also kosher in the Beis Hamikdash. Anything like that it's a problem. But if you hang it from the ceiling, a lot of places hold there's no shaykhis to the way it was in the Beis Hamikdash.
How did they get together to make that big menorah that's in Yerushalayim? It's supposed to look just like the one that's in the
Who says you're allowed to do that?
that might have been a problem.
It's a question, yeah. It's a question today, Bechlal.
It's in gold, isn't it in gold? No, it's in silver.
Even if it's silver, it says any type of metal.
Gold paint.
Any type of metal. If it's out of wood, they say it's okay. Any type of metal, Mechaba says, Chol Matchos. Any type of metal is awesome.
Glass? Glass is okay?
So glass is okay, I think it says. If I'm not mistaken, eights and schuchas are okay. It has to be only from metal. As long as from metal. In other words, the whole tumah once people wanted to start making the kelim in the Beis Hamikdash to prepare. There's a whole tumah if you're allowed to do it. Because you're not allowed to make any kelim daima similar to the kelim in the Beis Hamikdash. But on the other hand, we find that the price could bring down a lot that we do, the way we light our candles, we try to imitate the way it was done in the Beis Hamikdash.
Wait,
I'll give you two examples.
the one that he's talking about is 7. The one in the thing is 8, isn't it? There's
It could be it's not 7, I don't know what it is.
That's why they have by Lubavitch, by the Rebbe, they had exactly the menorah according to the Rambam,
But
and
there's
it was 8. Yeah,
Made
that's
8.
how they made it. Just that they should see that people should get an idea of what the Rambam is talking about.
It made
So
8,
one
not
guy
made
made
7.
it, and
I'm not sure what I'm talking about. I know there was a time they were talking of making the menorah the same as the Beis Hamikdash.
People are on display there in Mill City.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I don't remember what it looks like. I was never...
Yes.
That's probably out of wood anyway.
Correct, correct.
Yeah, it's all protected.
Alright, so that's one isser. That's an isser just to know. But the only time it's common is if someone has 5 kids, him and his wife are lighting. His wife never forgot to light, so they're still lighting 7. So you want to make a candelabra out of 7. If someone has that child, you should ask the person exactly what he should do. But there is a mokum to be machmer in that. But then there's another halacha. There are 2 halachas I'd like to speak about. One of them, Mishmur brings down. Hamadlik, the Mechaber says, Hamadlik tzarech sheyadlik roiv mashu yetz min hapsila me'aner. When someone lights a candle, it's called Neir Shabbos, you have to make sure when you light it, you light most of the wick that's sticking out from the holder. Meaning, what that means is, where does it come from? It's a pasuk. It's Rashi really in Parashas Ba'aloischa. Rashi in Parashas Ba'aloischa says, Dabal ha'ar v'mata leim ba'aloischa s'aneiros amul pnei ha'menorah yi'iru shivas aneiros. What does it mean ba'aloischa s'aneiros? To bring up the neiros. What does it mean to bring up? So Rashi brings down 2 perushim. Rashi says, one pshat, B'oi dashu Rabbeinu mikan shemala hoised. There were steps in front of the mizbeach, in front of the menorah. But the first pshat Rashi brings down, shetzarech lahadlik at shetehei hashalheves oila me'aleha. You have to light it so the shalheves, the fire goes up, is going up by itself. Meaning, not that you shall light it and let the fire go up by itself. It means when you're lighting it, you have to keep your hand there as long as it takes for the whole wick to get caught in fire. So therefore now, it's already fully lit. Meaning, don't light a drop and let it catch on the rest. Make sure you keep it there in order that the shalhevet should be oiled when by the time you take your hand away, it's already a full flame of the wick. And the Mishpur brings down from the Levush. כדי שיהיה הלהב אוילה יופה מיד שיסלק ידוי כמו שהי העניין בהדלקת המנורה. I mean, otherwise you would say Nev Shabbos, you're lighting the Nev Shabbos, you light it and you walk away, and if it goes, if not, now you'll relight it. So it says the halakha is not the way. When you're lighting it, part of the mitzvah hadlaka is to make sure that it's fully lit and it's going to go up. So the truth is, most of the wicks today, you don't have the issue. Most of the wicks today, you light it right away, it catches, and it's going up right away. But you have sometimes it's such a little flame, and then it could die down a little bit, then it goes back up again. You're trying to make sure that your hand is there until it's fully lit. That's one halacha that we learn out from the menorah. And there's one more, which is a very common shayla, which is shemen zayis. The mitzvah by the Beis Hamikdash was shemen zayis. You have to have olive oil. If you didn't have olive oil, you didn't light wax. The mitzvah was olive oil. So is there a mitzvah to light olive oil Friday nights? When you do Adlakas Neiros, so we know Chanukah, everyone does Shemin Zayis. The question is, a regular Friday night, a regular Yom Tif, Adlakas Neiros Shabbos is different Indian to do olive oil. So there's a Gemara in Shabbos. The Gemara in Shabbos says, "Kol rogel b'ner, havele b'nem schara." Somebody who's rogel, who's careful with the neiros, he'll have good kids, good scharim, boys. He'll have good kids. So the question is, what does it mean, the rogel b'ner? What does it mean he's doing it correctly? What's the better way of doing it? So the Sefer Hasidim brings down that you should light with olive oil. You should light Neiros Shabbos with olive oil, and it's brought down in the Mechaber. The Mechaber brings it down. It's in Reish Samach. It says Kol Hashmanim is mutter. Besides, he has a whole list beforehand, the ones that you can't use because it doesn't burn well. But otherwise, chutz from those, all of them are mutter. Mekamokam shemen zayis mitzvah min amufcher. Shemen zayis is better. Mitzvah min amufcher means it's a better mitzvah to use shemen zayis. The Sefer Hasidim brings down that there was once a person who had good kids, and they asked the person, why were you zeichet to have such good kids? And they couldn't find any mitzvah this person was makbid on besides Neiros Shabbos, and she lit with shemen zayis. The Sefer Hasidim brings this down, and therefore he said it's kedai everyone should try to be makbid to light dafka with shemen zayis. That's what the mitzvah min amufcher. It's interesting to note that a lot of poskim today say that today's candles that you buy in the stores, regular wax candles, light so beautifully that it may be even better to light with wax candles than shemen zayis. Because shemen zayis, today when you have today maybe it's better already. Today they have those ner mitzvahs, whatever you call them, that even with the olive oil you can make it burn very nice. But sometimes the candles light even nicer. So this will really depend on what you want makbid on. A little break off of yesterday's shir, we will speak about it a little at the end, is the reason to light with olive oil is really from the Sefer Hasidim, from the Arizal, that's a pikabola. The Mechaber is down, it's better to light with mitzvah min amufcher, to light with shemen zayis. And a lot of places can say, you know why it's mitzvah min amufcher to light with shemen zayis? Not for any Kabbalistic reason, because the Metzius is that shemen zayis lights better. So if today something else lights better, today the wax candles light better, so then maybe you should light with wax candles. So some places can say today, if you have much better, something that lights better than shemen zayis even, maybe that's a mitzvah min amufcher, to light with the wax. And some places say the opposite way. The Api Kabbalah, it's better to light with shemen zayis. So even though it's not as good as the candles today, you're still better off lighting with shemen zayis, light with oil, because Api Kabbalah is the reason why to light with shemen zayis. And maybe at the end, if you have some time, I'll speak about that Indian, about Kabbalah versus Halacha.
Does it have to be shemen zayis kasis?
So it doesn't have to be shemen zayis kasis. That we don't see. Shemen zayis. Even though today you can find shemen zayis kasis. You could. I used to a lot of times be makbid to buy extra virgin olive oil for Chanukah. Because of that. The people think that they sell the olive oil. They come in these cans. That's I don't know where they get it from, but
Italy.
No, I'm talking about the ones they sell at the store here. I don't know if you can buy it even. It's olive oil that you can't use for cooking. I don't know where they get it. It's thick and people would have to buy that because it has a kosher. It says the ner Chanukah and everything, and it wasn't clean oil. People would have to buy that and say it's better. No reason why that's better. You're better off going in the grocery store.
Buy Italian.
And buying extra virgin olive oil,
the best one.
And it's clear and it's clean and it's nice. It doesn't smell. Right? I light with olive oil Friday nights, and I buy the regular olive oil in the store. We use it for cooking also. It's beautiful oil. That's shemen zayis. The ones you buy that are meant for ner Chanukah officially, a lot of those olive oils are very thick and they're not They're not good. They're not the real stuff.
It's interesting from what the rabbi was saying earlier. I thought that you were going to lead to say that it's better not to because it's doima to the menorah.
No, that's it. Again, there's one thing to do that we try not to imitate the menorah.
Right.
That's only the way it's candle. But on the opposite end, the lighting itself, we try to do it like menorah. Yeah. That's why we have to make sure it goes up by itself. And that's why it's an Inyan to Yishem and Zayis Dafka, because that's what they use in the Beis HaMikdash. The only thing you can't do during to the Beis HaMikdash is the actual menorah, the actual candelabra. That you can't do during to everything else we try to do like the menorah in the Beis HaMikdash. That's why I started with one thing that you can't do, and everything else we try to make it like the menorah. I'll see if we have time to get back to it. The question of Kabbalah versus Halacha. But before we go into that, I want to speak about two other things in Adlakas Neirus. So one thing is that since the Gemara says that a Rogel B'ner is zeicher to Banat Hamid Chachamim, so therefore it says in Halacha, L'chein roiv she'tispalo le'isha achar she'tigmor ha'adlaka ve'abracha she'hitin la'kadosh Baruch Hu bonim zecharim me'irim v'toira. After Adlakas Neirus, a woman should daven to Hashem that she should be zeicher to have banim talmidei chachamim. She should have kids out talmidei chachamim, and that's where it comes from today. After Adlakas Neirus, so the women daven, they say a tefillah to Hashem. There's different nuschos, but everyone come out the same nusach. They daven to Hashem that they should have banim talmidei chachamim, and it comes from because since ner is meant. The Gemara says from Neiris is zeicher to have banim talmidei chachamim. So when they light the Neiris, therefore, right afterwards, they daven and they should be zeicher to have banim talmidei chachamim. That's where it comes from. It's brought in halacha. But there's a question of when exactly and how they should daven. So this question I'd like to get into, but before we go into it, there's another shaila. The shaila is when the ladies light the Neiris, so they make the bracha, and they cover their eyes, and then they uncover their eyes. So what's that procedure about? So that comes from because the Ramah says that usually you make the bracha over l'asiyasa. Before you do a mitzvah, you make a bracha on the mitzvah. Before you shake lulav, you make a bracha, and then you shake the lulav. Before you blow shofar, you make the bracha, and then you blow shofar. The problem is Ner Shabbos. When a lady makes the bracha, l'hadlik Ner Shabbos, she's mekabel Shabbos. So now it's Shabbos for her. If it's Shabbos for her, so how can she go ahead and light the candles? It's already Shabbos. So there's a whole question about a man who lights the Neiris, what he should do. The ladies definitely, the second they light Neiris, then mekabel Shabbos.
But why not say that she's Makabel Shabbos after the light takes place?
Oh, so very good, we'll get to that. So it's not when they make the bracha, l'hadlik Ner Shabbos, then Makabel Shabbos, that's Kabbalah Shabbos. So therefore, they make the bracha, then Makabel Shabbos, they can't light the Neiris. So what's the Eitzah? Go ahead, light the candles first, and then make the bracha afterwards. But then it's not over l'asiyasa. It's not before the mitzvah. So what do? After they light the candles, they cover their eyes so they're not being nana from the Neiris. And then they uncover it, and now they see the Neiris. So the bracha is going on, when they uncover their eyes and they're seeing the Neiris, the bracha is going on that. That's where the minute comes from. They cover their eyes. Really, in halacha it says really, what do? So the Ramah says, Yesh mishayim shemevorchem koydem ha'adlaka. And some people say they make a bracha after the adlaka. In order to be yet to everybody, they should make the bracha afterwards. What they should do is they should put their hands l'fnei haner. They should put their hands, block the candle, don't look at it, and then make the bracha and take your hand away from the candle. But today they have more than one candle, so you can't block the candle. So what do? Therefore they cover their face, they cover their eyes, and with that they get to this Ramah, and they uncover it after the bracha. That's where it comes from. Where it comes from,
so the bracha shouldn't really be lighting the candles. The bracha should be actually seeing the candles.
Yeah, seeing the candles.
You know, because it's like... Because when we're doing it now, it's after that adlaka already. Right. Yeah. So the truth is, it's going on that adlaka also.
it is going on halacha. It's after the mitzvah. In order to make it better, we cover the candles. Where it comes from that the ladies, they circle the candles. Everyone's different argument exactly how it goes, but I have no idea. Honestly, I have no idea. I checked into it a few times. I haven't found any makar for it. I don't know where it comes from. And I rather once saw in a sefer, I forgot where it was, that he says he also couldn't find the makar to it. But if the ladies do it, there must be a reason for it. Don't tell them not to do it. That's what he says. What?
It's not a Zohar.
No. It's not a Zohar. It's not a Kabbalah. I don't know. I don't know where it comes from. I looked around and I've seen that. The people say that they also don't know where this minute comes from. I don't know.
Did they say something
When
the waving? Is there something?
I don't know. I don't know. That I never heard. That much I never heard. But it's a minute, they do it, and we let them do it. They don't make fun of it. Even though there may not be a makar to it, but we leave it.
We don't know.
We don't know. We don't know what the reason is. So therefore and then they cover their eyes, and then they uncover it. So now, what happens a lot of times, that when the ladies do adlakas neiris, and they cover their eyes, they make the bracha. So if what we're doing is, we're making the bracha, and then we're uncovering our eyes to see the neiris, so what they should really do is, the second they finish the bracha, they should uncover their eyes and look at the neiris. They should do it right away, because if not, then you're back to where we started from. They make the bracha, and they're not going to be nana from it till later on. So what they should really do is make the bracha and then uncover their eyes right away. A lot of ladies don't do that. A lot of ladies keep their face covered, and they say the hirotzen after the bracha. Why are they covering their eyes? And the question is, where does that come from? They should at least look at the neiris. So what they should really do is, if they want to they should take a peek at the neiris, and then say the hirotzen and keep their face covered if they're more comfortable doing it that way, whatever it is. Whatever, for kavan, whatever it is.
No, because then it's already Shabbos, so they can't have bakashos.
Oh, who said that?
I don't know. I understand from what you're saying.
You didn't see that anywhere?
No.
Oh, okay, very good.
That's what you're going. You're going there, right?
Very good.
So it's fine.
So I always said that the ladies, after they cover their eyes, I've seen a lot of people do it, they cover their eyes and they say the yirotzen, and they keep their eyes covered. And I would tell people, no, they should look at the candles for a second, and then say the yirotzen afterwards. They want to recover their eyes. So I haven't seen recently in the Sefer, they says no, but dafka they should keep their eyes covered till after the yirotzen. Why? Because ladies after adlakas neiris, what are they doing? They're saying bakashas, the davening to Hashem. The halachas on Shabbos, you're not allowed to have bakashas. You're not allowed to add extra bakashas. Whatever you have in davening, you can do. To add more bakashas, you're not allowed to do on Shabbos. You're not allowed to do. So what happens here is, once they have a Kabbalah Shabbos, so they can't go ahead and say the bakashas. They can't daven to have good kids, because it's Shabbos now. So what do? So I saw in the Sefer says that's why bedafka the ladies keep their eyes covered till they finish the bakasha, and then first have a Kabbalah Shabbos.
Is the Kabbalah Shabbos when they say the bracha?
So he says not. He says the Yuratsu Kubi is like part of the Birchas HaNeiris. It doesn't have to do with the Neiris, and therefore it's as if they're not Kabbalah Shabbos till they uncover their eyes.
Sounds like a little bit of a hefsek though.
So it speaks about it. It says it's not called the hefsek because the bracha and the yirotzen is all part of the mitzvah.
Maybe you should say the yirotzen first. Then
Before before you start lighting it.
No, but before the bracha.
No, that we can, because like I told you before, this time we say the bracha, it's not that I lit the candles and now I'm covering my eyes, I'm starting a new thing. The bracha is going on the lighting of the candles. We have an issue. It's not over the so we try to make it a little better by covering their eyes and uncovering it. But once a lady starts lighting the candles, she can't say, no, okay, I'll be mafsik, I'll speak out, and before the bracha, you can't do that. The bracha is definitely going on the adlakas neiris. So the Ramah says we make it better by covering their eyes while the bracha, then uncovering it to make it better, like maybe the bracha is going on that. But definitely the ikar bracha is going on the adlakas neiris. And that's why you make a bracha on the hadlak ner. The main bracha is going on the adlaka. So to say that a kosher before the bracha you can't do. For sure not. After the bracha, before you uncover your eyes, I was just sort of say for recently that he says that you could, it's better to keep the eyes covered. This way they're not being Makabel Shabbos till after the Hadlach. Which to me was a big chiddush.
Is it much for somebody else to light for the mother? And then the mother comes down when she's finished busy upstairs.
No.
And then come down and just...
No. The ikr is the Hadlaka. This is not the ikr. The ikr is the Hadlaka. The main part of the mitzvah is the Hadlakas Neiris. They have to light the candles. And the bracha is going on the lighting of the candles. We have an issue. It's not obviously Asiyasa, so we do this to make it a little easier. But definitely the main thing is the Hadlaka. So someone else is going to light it. They're 100% not. They should not do that.
So why do we have such a problem with over Asiyasa? For example, Netilas Yadayim. Okay, this is the only way we can do it, so that's how we do it. Why do I have to go through hoops here?
To what? To make it
if the only way to do it is... why don't I do it with the eyes open?
So if you could do it better, you have an eitzah, because it's a machlokes. Some places can hold, the more is not a machlokes. Some hold you should bedafka make the bracha beforehand. Here you may have an eitzah with over Asiyasa. You can make the bracha beforehand.
Yeah, and they have a condition at night.
So what happened to it tonight? So the Biur Halacha brings down, that's what you asked before also. Why can every lady make a bracha and make a tonight that I'm not being Makabel Shabbos till after I light? So the Biur Halacha brings it down. It's like this, I'm very much the Baruch, Isha Masnes, She'ein Makabel Shabbos Bad Loko, then it's okay. Then they can make a bracha and then light. But then he says, but like plug, the Chacham said one halacha for everybody. You can have one lady making a tanai, one lady is not going to know what the tanai is, can mess up the tanai. Then you're going to light plug, and we keep everything the same, and everybody says the same way.
When she covers her eyes, she's already lit all the candles.
All the candles, right?
So isn't it the same? How does covering your eyes once you've already...
It's not over the shelf anymore.
Yeah, so how does
and that's not that's what I was saying before. It doesn't take care of the problem really. The Ramah says it's a remez. So now she's making a bracha, and now she's being nana from it again. But it doesn't really take care of the issue. It's not like but now we're making a bracha only on the seeing of the neiris. The bracha is still on the hadlaka.
So I'm sure Sephardic women always say the bracha and then light.
First. Yeah. Okay, because that's the Mechaber says that. The Mechaber doesn't really speak it out, but it's much from the Mechaber.
They're not accepting by the bracha.
Yeah, because everybody together knows they're not accepting Shabbos till after they finish lighting, so they make the bracha. This is the Ramah. The Ramah says, since it's a machlokes to make the bracha before and afterwards, you should cover your eyes. The Sephardic probably don't cover their eyes, do they?
Of course they do.
They make a bracha and they cover their eyes?
Yeah, I think covering their eyes is more sort of just, to say the bakasha.
That's interesting.
Have kavana.
So that's very interesting. To make a bracha and to cover your eyes, that's really an interesting minute. Because the whole covering of the eyes comes from here.
Maybe they misunderstood.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
It's interesting. You have to figure out where it comes from.
Probably from Ashkenazi friends and family.
Could be. It's very possible. No, it's very possible. It's very possible. And true, if it's Ma'or Kavana, then let them do it. What's wrong? But there's another shaila here, which is a very famous question. This is all Shabbos. This is all halacha of Shabbos. What happens Yom Tov? Yom Tov, you're allowed to light a fire on Yom Tov. You're allowed to light a fire on Yom Tov. So it should come Yom Tov, the lady should make a bracha, and then light. Because this should do over the siyasa. Make the bracha, and then light the candles. How many people do that on Yom Tov? Does anybody do that on Yom Tov? Probably not. Ask you why, what she does on Yom Tov. So it's interesting, the Mishnah Berurah paskins, that you should make the bracha first on Yom Tov, and then light the candles. Why?
You still have to light from an existing flame.
No, it's Erev Yom Tov.
Yeah, but
Erev Yom Tov, you should...
by the bracha?
No, so you strike a match,
oh, okay.
you light a candle, you hold a candle in your hand, you make the bracha now, and then you light the rest of the candles. You're right, you can't make the bracha and then strike the match. It's true. You have to light a candle, light one candle, make the bracha, and then light the rest of the candles. So on Yom Tov, you should make the bracha first, and then light the candles. So it says over here, the Mishmur brings down, Im kain b'yomtiv, the lo shayich b'zeh. You don't have this problem of overlap because you could make the bracha and then light the candles. The kula almo tevarech va'achar kach tadlit. Everyone would hold. You make the bracha and then you light. V'das ha'magen Avram d'lo plug. Av haba ha'achreinim tzvi le'kamar shechsavti b'tchila. The Magen Avram says no. The Magen Avram says lo plug. What does lo plug mean? We don't make a difference. If a Shabbos they have to light first, and then make the bracha, so Yom Tov we can do the same thing. Yom Tov we're going to keep it the same way. That's what the Magen Avram says, and we'll see why in a second. But according to the Mishnah Berurah, he says, no, Yom Tov, you go ahead, you make the bracha, and then you light the rest of the candles.
So he trusts women that they won't get confused between Shabbos and Yom Tov.
So the Magen Avram says, lo plug. Here, so don't get confused, and we'll see in a second what the machlokes is. You come with a different point. Ladies in the come, they're not going to remember Shabbos, Yom Tov. They don't know the reasons why.
Shabbos and Yom Tov on the same night?
Shabbos on the same time, like right. Shabbos, Yom Tov. Oh, Yom Tov I do it this way. You missed the boat because it's Shabbos also. So you have right. So that's why I think the minute really became today very rare. You'll find people that do like the Mishnah Berurah, and they'll make the bracha first and then light. It happens to be after I got married, I started doing like the Mishnah Berurah, and I ran into issues because my wife would, I would go to shul, my wife would be home, and she forgot what is it? I was supposed to light first. The Shechayanu was for the light. They also go. I said, you know what? Leave it the way it is. Everything is the same. You make the brachas after you light, but the Magen Avram brings down that they should do it. Now, what's the reason for it? So it's interesting. They bring down. The Magen Avram says like this. The first one, the famous person who did this, was the mother of the Drisha. The Drisha, the Prisha, is a parish on the Torah, and he brings down that his mother used to light Erev Yom Tov. She would make the bracha first, and then light the candles. And because of that, he said that's why all ladies should do that. Go over here. Yes, so the Magen Avram brings down over here. Here. In Tevarech Kabbalah Shabbos, Asul Hadav Im Kein B'Yom Tiv, Tevarech, V'achar Kach Tadlik, Kein Kosev B'Seif, Sefer HaDrisha, B'Shem Imoy. The Drisha says this in the name of his mother. Drisha's mother, she used to light. By Yom Tov, she would make the bracha first and then light.
But she couldn't extinguish the candle she lit.
Correct. She couldn't extinguish it. That was one of the candles, maybe.
Oh.
She would use it as one of the candles.
That's what
leave it, yeah. Like you do in a regular Yom Tov night. Second night Yom Tov, what do? You have a candle and you don't extinguish it. Abel says the Magen Avram, Ein Chachma Leisha. Ladies don't have Chachma. And therefore the Magen Avram says, even though the mother of the Drisha made the bracha first, she was wrong.
Are we going to go home and tell our wives this?
No.
Next session is going to be so biased.
Maybe it wasn't from the son of Bina.
Yeah, it was from the. That's what the Magen Avram says. The Chalku Chachamim. The Chachamim didn't make a difference. The Chachamim said one thing: you make a bracha first. You light first, then you make the bracha. It doesn't make a difference Shabbos. Doesn't make a difference Yom Tov. You always light first and then make the bracha. That's what the Magen Avram says. The Dagam Mevava, the Noid of Yehuda, he says not the way. And he says at the end, V'chein nirli l'hayris, ki ima yishal agar nadrisha, v'hi isha nesa'al liba b'chachma. She had chachma. And she knew what she was talking about. Machlokes says that the Magen Avram, the Dagam Mevava, you trust a woman. That's basically the machlokes over here. But the Magen Avram says, you light first and then you make the bracha even on Yom Tov, and the Dagam Avram says not. And the Magen Avram brings a raya. And the raya he brings is that we know by tefillah, there's one case he brings tefillah, when a ger toivels, ladies when they toivel, when do they make the bracha? It's the whole shot on the person when they make the bracha. Tosfos says they make a bracha after the tefillah. Isha needed a toivels, they make a bracha afterwards. Why? Because a ger that toivels, what's the halacha? You can't make a bracha beforehand.
he's not Jewish.
He has to make the bracha afterwards. So anybody else has a chiv to tevel, a nida, isha nida tevels, also makes the bracha afterwards. Why? Because loy plug. We don't make a difference. So you see, it says the Magen Avraham, we see that there's a loy plug. But anytime there's a mitzvah, some people have to make the bracha beforehand, and some afterwards, then there's loy plug. Everyone does the same thing, otherwise you get confused. Loy plug. Says the Magen Avraham, it's no raya. Why? Because the bracha by tefillah is the same exact bracha. By Isha Nida says ala tefillah. A ger says the bracha, second term ala tefillah. Same exact bracha. When the same exact bracha, then there's loy plug. The hadlik ner shel Shabbos and the hadlik ner shel Yom Tif are two different brachas. And it brings a raya. Because you have ner Chanukah also. When do you make the bracha ner Chanukah?
Before you light.
You make the bracha before you light. There's also the hadlik ner. So by Chanukah you can make the bracha first, so it should be the same thing. Says the Magen Avraham, there's no loy plug. Why? Because it's different brachas. One's the hadlik ner shel Shabbos and one's the hadlik ner shel Yom Tif. There's no loy plug. So Magen Avraham says no. Hadlaka is all the same thing. Yes, maybe Chanukah will be a question on this. But the Magen Avraham says loy plug. They don't make a difference. And we can understand the Magen Avraham. I've said before, it's kedai that women should know one way. Light, and then you make the bracha. Don't make cheshbonis that Yom Tif, even though the Mishnah Berurah says not the way. Mishnah Berurah says they should make the bracha first and Yom Tif then light. The Meister of the Magen Avraham said not the way. I think the minhag ha'olam is today that most people, they're not mechalek between Shabbos and Yom Tif.
So the different communities don't do it certain ways. Like there's no
so he says the Sfardim do it even Shabbos first. For sure Yom Tif.
Like Yakish community.
So I don't know. I never really checked into it. But the Meister thing, minhag most of the world today is that Shabbos and Yom Tif, they leave it the same way. They light first and then they make the bracha.